Hi friends, welcome to Active Self-Protection Extra. John's Briefs today with Tim Forshey, who you should be getting your NFA trusts from, friends. He did mine, and excellent work, and very helpful, especially now in this day and age where sometimes our shoot suppressor forms, I'm hearing coming back super fast.
Really fast. And you know, if you're not using a suppressor for your home defense weapon, you might want to rethink that. That's a big issue that people, I think, fail to comprehend. So, yeah.
I sure have it on mine.
Yep.
Anyhow, we had a video on the channel, twice on the big channel. In fact, I analyzed it. Then the defender in that video sent me additional footage.
Matt, correct?
Matt
Yeah.
sent me additional footage, gave me some additional information. So we went back and did it again and looked through that with some more information. And in particular, what I wanted to talk about is this idea that I hear from time to time on the channel that, you know, somebody breaks into my house and I'm going to shoot him dead.
Yeah.
And while I understand, I think, the general principle of that, there's some nuance here that I think I want the attorney to talk to us about. To win the fight after the fight, you need help. After a use of force, I trust Firearms Legal Protection to help me win the fight for the rest of my life. From their 24/7 attorney-answered hotline to coverage for the use of all legal tools, Firearms Legal Protection has you covered. Get a discount by signing up at the link below. So I love what you always say about this. Like, you know, okay, somebody breaks into your home, you're going to get a strong presumption that they are a deadly threat.
Legally, that's exactly what the Castle Doctrine basically says, that presumptively that you're in fear for your life if somebody breaks into your house, but it is a rebuttable presumption. And it's not as difficult to rebut as some people might think, yeah. Yeah,
so it's presumed, like you get to start. This is like, you know, when you say, okay, tie goes to the runner, right?
Yeah.
So we assume the runner is safe unless we really know that the runner is out.
That's right.
So, but if we have evidence that the runner is out, runner is out. So you get a presumption that you're in fear for your life. But, you know, I always talk about if your 89-year-old next door neighbor on a walker opens your front door without your permission, and she's got a knife in her hand, and she's like,
kill her, right? Mount her head over your mantle.
Damn it, Jimmy, I'm so tired of your dog taking a crap in my yard. I'm gonna come get you, and I'm gonna cut you to ribbons. And you're gonna be like, oh, she's coming right for me. And you know, you shoot her 3 times with a shotgun. They're gonna ask some questions about, what was this a needed thing here? You know, and because you can be like, come on, you know, Auntie, just stop, you know?
The example I've used, I think I've used it on the channel before, is the Girl Scout. That's knocks on your unlocked screen door, and there's nobody in the room, and the screen door swings open, and she walks in, and you come around the corner, and she says, hey, would you like to buy some Thin Mint cookies? So you can kill her, right? Because she broke into your house.
Broke into your house.
So, no, of course not. That's a rebuttable presumption. So a lot of people think it's an absolute. The Castle Doctrine, if somebody comes in my house, I'm by God, going to kill him. It's like, whoa, slow down, slow your jets. So, yeah. And Matt did that, thank God.
Thank God. Yeah. And we've seen this in other places where, you know, have any of us ever had dumb teenagers where friends, boyfriends, girlfriends, significant others, you know, sneak into the house late at night? And we've had plenty of instances in the news of people killing children. Yeah. You know, teenage children or whatever, you know, because they snuck into the house or whatever. Because, oh, somebody broke into my house, man. You better positively identify that threat because you'll have to live with that for the rest of your life.
You get back to Rule 4 on those big time. I mean, you make certain of the target.
And so Matt here in this case, this guy opens the door, and I think when we looked at him, especially from outside, you know, from the outside camera, I mean, he has a patch over his eye. He's clearly kind of unstable on his feet, and Matt's armed with a gun. And gets that gun out, points it right in his face, and then doesn't pull the trigger. Right. And I thank God he didn't.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank God he didn't. Because the guy, I mean, again, this is a perfect example of the rebuttable presumption. This guy just walked into my house, and he's obviously drug-addled, and he has an obvious, like, wound dressing on his head. It's like, what the heck's going on? We don't know what's going on. And wisely, Matt just didn't assume. I mean, he didn't see a weapon. The guy kind of stopped at the door jam, didn't actually enter the house much farther than a step or so. I think, as I recall, maybe 2 steps.
Yeah, I mean, you clearly see he's like, what? Yeah, this is not what I'm expecting.
Exactly. So I think Matt, there's some things I would critique him on, but his judgment and his not shooting and stuff, thank God. Yeah, I mean, it was a perceived potential threat, and I think Matt was wisely able to say, okay, this is not a real threat. It has not been realized as a threat, and wisely he withheld fire. So.
There's a difference between a perceived potential threat and an objective, reasonable, deadly threat.
Correct.
Those are big words.
People perceive things that shouldn't be perceived that way. But it's the reasonable person, the reasonable standard.
So listen, can you shoot somebody? Here's something. Well, John, if somebody breaks into my home, I know I can shoot him.
Yeah, stop. First of all, the word "can" always infuriates me here, right? It's
must.
It's must. It's like, can I shoot this guy? It's like, well, if you're asking me if you can shoot them, it's a very strange conversation, because if you're justified and morally and legally appropriately shooting somebody, it means you had no choice. You must shoot them, or someone you care about will die. You have to use the second worst thing known to man. The worst thing would be to stand there and let them kill you and your children. The second worst thing would be to stop them from doing that, because of the aftermath, psychologically, legally, emotionally. All that stuff is horrendous, and it's your next to the last choice on the spectrum. It's not, can I shoot somebody? It's not a hunting license that we bless you to go forth and take a deer.
Right.
It is not how it works. And if you're looking at it that way, please sit down and rethink that. So, Yep.
So again, I just want you guys to recognize, because if Matt had shot that guy in the face, so he's got a laser on his gun. You guys know I don't love lasers. You've been around me much. But okay, fine. He's got a laser on the gun. That laser,
at least it was green instead of red.
Bouncing around the guy's face, whatever. If he had said, dude, get out of my house. Guy doesn't get out of the house. Bang, bang. He puts 2 shots in his dome, and now you got a dead guy sitting there.
Probably, I'd say pretty good chance that we could get that guy either no charges filed or get him acquitted. So I think that would have been not my favorite case, but I think that's a winnable case.
Winnable case, probably.
But like you're about to say, what's it do to his family?
He's got kids there, right?
The kids just witnessed the guy's brains get splattered all over the door. Goodbye retirement account, goodbye equity in your house, goodbye parents' equity in their house, goodbye parents' retirement account. Unless you're wise enough to have FLP or something similar, it will completely financially devastate your entire family. And that's still if you win.
Yeah, and that's not including the jail time.
Right, yeah, I mean, what's the bond gonna be? I mean, you catch the wrong judge on the wrong day, it's a cash only $250,000 bond. Now you have to choose between getting out of jail and hiring a lawyer. You can't do both. And I've had that case before. Every single meeting, I had to go down to the jail to meet my client because they couldn't afford to postpone. It's horrible.
I've had several cases as an expert witness that they sit in jail waiting for the trial to happen.
Yep. So nothing good about that. You lose your job, which means you lose your house, which means oftentimes you lose your marriage. Maybe don't shoot the guy. So yeah, thank God Matt was able to do all that mental math quickly.
When we boil it all back down, we use deadly force only as a last resort. Because it's the second worst choice.
Correct.
The only other worst one is, well, he kills me, kills my family, kills somebody I kiss goodnight. I can't live with that outcome, so I have to, and then I deal with all the other stuff. Then you probably don't have to mortgage the house, probably.
Correct. Because it's going to be very clear that you had no choice.
Because it's going to be so clear that you had no choice.
There's still a lot of horrible stuff about that, but it's not as horrible.
Yeah. And another plug, this is why I'm a member of Firearms Legal Protection, because again, the financial piece at least I want covered in this case. They won't cover the emotional, social, spiritual piece. They can't. That's just not possible. But they will cover the financial piece, and that's important. And okay, fine. But all the other costs of it, no. So do you just, they broke into my house and therefore I shot them? No. Remember, the presumption is there that you have a reasonable, objective fear of death or great bodily harm when somebody unlawfully enters your home.
Right.
And I think that's the right choice.
I absolutely think that's the right choice. I will say, I'll say, I'm not going to ask you because it's a personal thing, you might not want to reveal it, but I don't think, it's pretty rare that I'm actually carrying a gun on my person when I'm in my house. When I'm home and I've got, my security door and my steel front door and my alarm is set and my dogs are there and the safe room's available to me and, I've got all these levels of defense between me and the potential bad guy. I don't carry a gun around my house. I typically don't do that.
What, you don't have an underwear gun, Tim?
So, I've got guns in safes throughout my house. I've probably got a gun within 8 steps, but the point is, I'm not laying on the couch watching Netflix with my wife with a gun on. And thank God Matt did. However, why is your front door unlocked? As you talked about in the video, why is your front door unlocked, dude? At least lock your front door. This guy could have never, he wasn't violent, as we found out later, thank God, but he could have been. And if he can just open your door and walk in and start shooting your family or stabbing your family, you're going to really wish you'd at least locked the door. And the security door, it looked like it was a house, not an apartment.
Yeah.
The security door is the best $1,000 you ever spent. I love that every single time the UPS guy comes. I love that I've got that really, really solid steel door and a steel frame that I can still talk through. I wouldn't open the door to anybody, but I happen to know what our UPS guy looks like, so I'm comfortable talking to him, but I still don't open the door.
A quality front door with some 3-inch case hardened screws, securing it to the frame. is a formidable entry barrier. And so that with a doorbell camera, which are cheap in 2024.
Right, which Matt had.
Yeah, and he had.
Yeah.
But again, because the guy was able to open the front door, wasn't useful. So instead, you see somebody rattling on the front door.
Thank God this worked out legally and morally well. However, if that guy had opened the door and started shooting, game over.
Game over.
So you do the simple, cheap stuff. Lock your door. We always talk about your "Let's Go" acronym. Get in the car, lock the door. People, it's simple and stupid and easy to forget, but just like putting on a seatbelt, just do it all the time and make it a habit, and it makes your family so much safer. Yeah.
So much
And Matt, not
safer.
to lecture you. Thank God you did it the way you did it, and everybody survived. But I hope you've changed a few things up since then. I really do.
And I've talked to Matt since, and again, I said, hey man, big thing, lock the door. And just when there's people, I don't care. When I don't have people in the house, I don't care if the front door's locked or not.
It's stuff. It's insured.
It's stuff and it's insured. And somebody who is going to illegally enter my home by opening the doors, the same guy's going to break the window. And so, whatever. If there are people in the home, though, lock that door. That front door needs to be locked if there's people in it. Did I have some wars with my wife when we were young and first married? Yeah, we had some discussions about that. Do we ever have to break that as kids are out late or whatever? My kids are older now, so, teens, and so they go out and do things. Sure. But as a general rule, there are people in the home. Every exterior door in the home is locked. And then what happens if one of their friends comes over? Knock on the door.
Right.
I'll come down and let you in.
That's right.
Or
just like the old days.
or in the new days, text me when you get here, and I'll come let you in. Or whatever the case may be.
And by the way, you better have a decent reason for showing up at 2 a.m. So,
2 a.m. we got big problems
exactly.
here, right? So listen, somebody enters the house, you still need objective, reasonable evidence that they're a deadly threat in order to be not just legally justified, but morally justified, which is more important in shooting them, because you want to use that force as a last resort. So be smart, everybody. Listen to Tim. Thanks, buddy.
Always. My pleasure. Matt, keep it up.